I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew who was going to be in that casket, y'all. Let's talk about Empire. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is Empire Season 5, Episode 18. And this is the season finale. And the name of this episode is the Rawest Day. And man, this episode was crazy. But yeah, I knew I was right when it came down to who was in that casket. I've said it in many of my reviews, prior to this episode. So I kind of called it that, yeah, I knew who was going to be in that casket. So let me begin. Okay, the beginning of the episode, we saw from the last episode, Andre had taken some of the pills because, he was planning to kill himself, but Cookie intercepted, and he had took some of the pills, so he went unconscious, and they rushed him to the hospital, and he actually flatlined. And like, Cookie is completely hysteric because she doesn't want to lose her son. Lucius is hysteric, and even get to the point where they were doing the defibrillator. They kept doing it, and he still never regained consciousness, or and then all of a sudden they told him to do it again, and once they did it again, that's when his heart started beating again. But then all of a sudden, they were relieved, and then when he went to go embrace Cookie, Cookie flipped the fuck out like I can't believe you tried to let my son kill himself and all of that shit. So we already see that this is just another detonator in their relationship because she had to deal with the situation with Kingsley, and now you're gonna aid Andre in killing himself. But she's not really understanding that they both love Andre equally, and that he was being supportive to Andre when Andre had made up his mind that he wanted to commit suicide. Lucius was there as a supporting person, but he didn't want him to kill himself just as much as Cookie didn't. But I think the main thing of why Cookie's upset is because he didn't tell her. But then again, Cookie, you didn't tell him about Terry being pregnant. So it's kind of like this thing, like they're still keeping secrets from each other. But then in the waiting area, Cookie and Lucius really go at it, and Candace and Carol break them up, and then afterwards, Lucius goes off and everything, and Candace and Carol have a moment with Cookie. And the thing is, Cookie is just like, I cannot believe he was gonna aid Andre in killing himself. She just can't grab that in her mind that he would do that. But then Carol had said something smart. She was like, look, he was just being a father. He was just being a father, just trying to be there for his son. And then both Candace and fucking Cookie was like, shut up, Carol. That part had me rolling. But I'm like, they always be coming for Carol, but Carol at sometimes be saying some real shit. So Carol does have insight. And she gets a call from Jamal. Jamal is actually stuck in Seychelles, due to a storm. And I'm like, wow, so it's cute how they bring Jamal in the situation, but we all know what's currently going on with what's going on in reality with Jussie Smollett. But and then all of a sudden we see that Candace is really going in on Lucius to Cookie, and was telling her that, look, you need to worry about you, and because Lucius is going to always be Lucius, so I don't understand why you keep putting yourself in this situation, because Lucius is going to be Lucius. It is what it is. And then pretty much, Carol was trying to say, like, Candace, you need to chill with that shit, because right now she needs to be strong. Andre is in the fight for his life. So then we see Terry and Andre, pretty much, Terry has now realized that, yeah, his condition is far worse than she thought, because at first some of us were thinking that she knew that Andre was going to die, but it turns out that wasn't the case. She had no idea. And she's like, you should have told me. Andre says, well, my mother tells me you're pregnant. Is it true? She's like, yes, you're going to have a son. and she lets him know that, look, this is not the end of our story. You just need to get well enough until you're at a good state where you can get a heart transplant. So then we get a scene with Becky, Hakeem, and Kingsley. They're in the waiting area. She leaves to go to work with Giselle. They're going to work out the last leg of the tour together. Because of course, because of Andre. Hakeem can't be on the tour right now. So, but you can definitely see that the tension is still heavy between Hakeem and Kingsley. I mean, Kingsley says that, he knows a doctor that can help. I can call him here. And Hakeem was like, man, my mother, your face is the last face my mother want to see at this point. So you just need to get the hell on out of here and go on somewhere. You ain't family. And I'm like, but I can't even really knock Hakeem on this because I understand where he's coming from. Because, dude, you literally went out to destroy their family. And it was all based on lies that you were fed by your mother. So you literally tried to destroy them. So Hakeem right now still has that hostility towards him. But then we see that Kingsley goes to meet up with Lucius. And she's saying that, he asks how Andre's doing. And Lucius like he's in there fighting for his life. And Cookie won't let me nowhere near him. But she's like, do you know I would give my heart for that boy? And we see that Kingsley is starting to feel some kind of way. And I'm definitely going to get into this later. But he decides to tell Lucius to, let's go and clear your head. And then once they are walking down the hall, Cookie just gives him this cold ass stare. Like, Cookie is mad as hell that he was going to aid him in committing suicide. And she's mad as shit. Like, you was going to kill my baby and you ain't tell me. Like, yeah, so the shit's real. So then back at Empire, we see that Giselle and Becky are working together. They're trying to work out the last leg of the tour. Becky lets Giselle know that she got a job offer from Def Jam. And she says that the way this money situation is at Empire, I may be forced to take it. And pretty much, Giselle was like, are you serious? You gonna leave all this black girl magic? She was like, honey, yeah, if we ain't getting no coin, then yeah, I'm gonna have to leave the black girl magic. But then they came up with this strategy. They said that, look, we need to find the right incentives as to how to make this tour, how to turn this tour into profit, because the Trust Tour is free. They said that, first of all, Empire Extreme, when we launch it, we need to get all the footage from the tour. And people, due to the fact that this tour is a success and it's, getting rave reviews, people are going to want, photos and moments from the tour, video footage, all of that. We can upload it at Extreme and, people will pay for it, because people want to, savor the memories of this tour. So they came up with the idea, we're now going to flip this free tour and put it into the streaming service, and we can actually start getting a profit, and it's going to go in droves because people are loving this tour, and they're now going to want to become clients with us again, which was a very smart business strategy. So then we see that Cookie and Andre have a moment. Andre tells her, don't be mad at Dad, because Dad was only doing what I asked him to do. He was supporting me. And he loves just like you. He just loves a different way. Cookie ain't trying to hear that shit. But she lets him know, I'm so happy that you're alive. So when we were at the roller rink, that was your way of saying goodbye to me? Well, he was like, yeah, that was the reason. And she pretty much says that, look, you're not going to die. Miracles happen every day. And pretty much he was like, well, miracles don't happen to people like me. I'm like, Andre, you're delusional, honey, because you actually are given a miracle. You just don't see it at this moment. So then we see that Lucius and Kingsley are out and about. They stop by this vinyl stand, where they got some of his old, albums and stuff, and they're going through stuff. And They actually, and pretty much we see that Kingsley is a fan of Lucius's music, because they talk about this one album, and he's like, yeah, I did this album around the time Andre was born, you know and here it is, Andre has been like a big force in my life, you know, and then he says that, yeah, this was my album dedicated to my firstborn. And we see that damn Kingsley is really bothered by this shit. I'm like, Kingsley, you just got into the family. Yeah, you're the firstborn, bruh, but they've been around each other for years and they've only been around you for 5 minutes. So it takes time. And we just see that Kingsley was just torn apart because he feels that he loves them more than he loves him, and he feels that bitterness there. And it's even further worse once he goes sees his mother, and I'm gonna get to that too. So then we see later on that when we see Terry and Andre again, Terry's pissed off because Andre kept that from her, and Andre was literally going to check out, and she would have known neither way what really happened. It was just that Andre would have been dead, and here it is, she would have been pregnant, having a baby without the father. So she feels some kind of way that Andre did this, but he apologizes to her. Um, and she lets him know that, look, all you have to do is stay healthy enough to get on the list for a heart transplant. This is not the end. But then he sent Hakeem to the gift store to get her like a little ring or whatever. And he proposes to her, and he says that, look, if I don't make it, I want my son to have my last name, and I want you to inherit everything I have. I don't want you to have to worry about anything. And then she says that once you're well enough, we can have a big church wedding. Can you promise me that? And he promises. And they get married. And while they're getting married, the Trust tour has picked up. And we see that Devon and Tiana are doing that song that they were working on in the studio on the last episode. And the song was beautiful. They really did their thing on it. So that went down. Then I'm going to talk about Kingsley goes to see that crackhead ass mother of his, White Tracy. Tracy is getting out the hospital, and Kingsley's like, do you think it's a good idea? I mean, you know what happened the last time. Yeah, the bitch relapsed. Um, and he talks about, Andre needing a new heart, and that he was at the hospital with Lucius. It's just like, you're hanging out with Lucius now? And she's like, look, I'm trying to get to know him. He's my father. And he's like, oh, he's your father now? And he's like, yeah, like, why are you tripping? And they go back and forth, and she was saying that, Lucius is always, playing games, and he's this and he's that. And pretty much he kind of told her that, look, you need to shut up. And then she slapped him and was like, you're pathetic. And I was just sitting here looking at this bitch like, you literally put all of you literally have poisoned this fool with all of your venom and hatred towards Lucius, and there's no wonder why he came after them the way he did. And it really starts to sink in how much of a destructive person Tracy is, especially due to the fact that she's a drug addict. Because them drug addicts got a way about them, and she kind of throws it in this situation. So pretty much she says, so that's what you doing? You over there shucking and driving, trying to get your dad's approval. And then she was like, you know what? You mean nothing to them, okay? Besides, when it comes down to cookies and them boys, you always gonna be last on the list. You never are gonna be more important than them. And then, oh yeah, when when I told Lucius about being pregnant, he offered me $200 to abort you. I should have just taken the cash. I'm like, oh, you evil bitch. Oh, because now he's opening his eyes and seeing how much of a vindictive bitch you are. Now you're going to say you wish you would have aborted him? And this, I think, is what sent Kingsley over the edge, because he did all of this for the love of his mother, but now he realized that motherfucking mother is a crackhead, and he's starting to see it for himself, but he got so ingrained in it that it just pierced him to his core. And the funny thing about it, I actually have a family member that's just like Kingsley, actually. Um, and let's just say when you live a life based on lies and stories that you were fed, you go out and you hurt innocent people because of all of this hurt and anger that you have buried within yourself. And it's actually tragic, and Kingsley becomes a tragic figure due to this situation. But I was like, oh, that damn Tracy is a piece of shit. So obviously, because now he's opening his eyes and seeing the fact that Lucius ain't this bad monster that you make him out to be, now you wish he was never born. But when he was all trying to destroy Lucius and shit, oh, you was gang ho for it. You was all about that shit. You was all about him doing fucked up shit. But then now he's trying to bond with the father. You feel some kind of way because you know at the end of the damn day, you kept him from Lucius. Trifling bitch. Alright, let's keep it moving. So we see that Cookie is literally by Andre's side. She has not left. She has not bathed. Candace and pretty much Candace and Carol go in there and tell her that, look, we'll take over. You need to go home and get yourself together. Because she's like, yeah, girl, because you a little ripe. But then all of a sudden they start playing Women's Worth by Maxwell. That is my jam. Maxwell's voice is so melodic on that song. And then all of a sudden, Candace apologizes to Cookie. She says, like, look, I was wrong what I said about Lucius. It's your decision as to what you want to do with that situation. And Cookie just breaks down, and then we see that she goes home to run her bath, and she just cries. And I'm like, y'all better give Taraji an Emmy nomination, y'all, because that woman be acting on this show. And I was so drawn in because she really doesn't know whether her son's going to live, and then now she's also mad at Lucius because she thinks that Lucius was going to willfully aid in him committing suicide, but not understanding that was his way of showing love to his son, that you're not going to do this alone. I'm going to be here by your side, and I'm not going to leave you. And then we see that Kingsley goes to see Lucius. Lucius right now is working on getting all of these streaming videos together to upload on Empire Extreme. And he's like, I need to talk to you, but Lucius right now ain't paying attention. He's totally into his work and trying to do all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden he went to a picture of Jamal and he's like, oh yeah, Jamal, I'm definitely gonna make sure I get footage of Jamal. And then all of a sudden that damn Kingsley just flipped and was like, look at me. And then he pulls out a gun and he starts saying that, let's just say you were to die, Dad, and they write your obituary. Will I be your firstborn, or will Cookie's sons come first? And all of a sudden, Lucius got it. He got Lucius' attention because he pulled out a gun, obviously. But he lets Kingsley know that look, if you want to be treated like a lion, you need to start acting like one. And if you have my DNA, you will know that don't pull it unless you're gonna use it. So then he points it at Lucius and was like, so am I a lion now? Am I a lion now? Was good. and then he says, I understand what you're going through, son. He's like, you don't know one damn thing about me. He says, I actually do. I know that you're scared and alone. I saw my father be murdered right in front of me when I was 9 years old. My mother abandoned me shortly afterwards, so I know how it feels to be scared and alone. And then Kingsley says that, you know what? I just lost my mother today. I lost my mother trying to be your son. But then he pretty much tells him that, look, if you gonna kill me, do what you gotta do. But do it and do it right. Hit me right here. So I can give my heart to my son. And then he was like, look, your mother kept me from you. Every boy needs his father. You think if I had known about you, I would have let you live the way you did? And then all of a sudden, Kingsley is just very reaped with emotion and everything. And he's like, you're right. Every boy needs his father. and then turns the gun on himself and blows his brains out. And I'm like, something told me that Kingsley was going to lead to his demise because he was so poisoned by Tracy that when the truth finally came out, he couldn't really deal with it, and he was probably wreaked with a lot of guilt and a lot of grief off of everything he did to his father and his brothers and shit, based off of the lies that Tracy told. That we see that now Andre has a heart. And we see that Lucius goes to do all the paperwork and all of that to get that taken care of. We see him washing blood off of him and Cookie, like what the hell is going on, Lucius? What did you do? What happened? And he says, we got a heart for Andre. And then all of a sudden, Cookie and Lucius go to the hospital, thinking that Andre's going to be prepped for surgery. But he wasn't. So immediately they go Lucius goes into the front to the front desk, and he is going the fuck off like, look, why the fuck isn't my son not in surgery right now and all this shit. And then all of a sudden we see that damn Tracy shows up. You son of a bitch. Tracy done blocked them from getting from getting Kingsley's heart. And she's like, you son of a bitch, you killed my son to save hers and blah, blah, blah. And they go back and forth and shit. And then like Cookie's like, Tracy, I swear, we did not, I would never hurt your son, to save mine. Like, that's not what it is. And then all of a sudden, Lucius kind of told the truth, like, bitch, you did this. You planted all that stuff in his head, and that's why he killed himself. Like, when he started to realize the truth, he realized that, yeah, all this time he'd been living a lie, and he couldn't live with that. So that's why he did what he did. And, then she's like, you killed my son for her, and all this shit. And then afterwards, Lucius, goes off to, like saying that, fuck, first of all, I signed documents, so you really have no say so. So now he goes to try to figure out how to get Andre into the surgery. But Cookie tries to actually bond with Tracy. She's saying that, look, woman to woman, look, Lucius lied to both of us, and I know how, and I can say he's hurt me just as much as he's hurt you, but your son is the only person that can save my son. And then she was like, I know that's got to hit you in your heart somewhere. And then Tracy's like, oh yeah, it hits me. And it's hitting me that, why am I talking to you, wasting my time, instead of being with my son for the last time? So she pretty much blew him off like, no, you ain't getting his heart and shit. And all of a sudden we see later on, Cookie is with Andre. She's talking to God, and she's saying that, God, please, give me a sign. I really don't know what to do. And she's emotional. Then we see that Tracy comes in, and she sees her with Andre, and it makes her emotional because here it is, this is a mother caring about her child, because she did love her son, but she's a vindictive crackhead, and crackheads always be pulling manipulation tools on them, on people and shit. So when she saw Cookie with her son, it tugged at her emotionally. So yeah, heart to heart, she did feel something. But then this bitch decided to pull a motherfucking stunt, because all of a sudden she comes in and Cookie knows that she's there. They look at each other, and she kind of gives Cookie the nod that, yeah, you can have my son's heart. And then she hugs her. She's like, thank you. She's like, yeah, but it's not going to be easy, and it ain't going to be free. I'm like, oh, you evil bitch. You're the reason why that son of a bitch killed himself, and now you want to sell his fucking organs? Like, you evil slut. But that is a crackhead for you. Crackhead always got a manipulation, and they always thinking of a motherfucking come up. Because that's exactly what Tracy did. So really, at the end of the day, you ain't give a shit about your son for real, for real. You only cared when he served your bullshit and served your purpose. And now, when he was waking up and seeing how manipulative and trifling your ass was, that's when you said, oh, I wish I would have aborted you, which made him kill himself. And now you want to sell his organs. you want to, use this as a way to get money out of them. I'm like, see, them damn crackheads are malicious like shit. We see later on that Lucius and Cookie, after, Andre, pretty much Andre ends up having a surgery. It's a success. Um, So then we see Lucius and Cookie have a conversation. We can see that the tension is still there between them. And she asks, "Did you hurt Kingsley? Did I just lie to Tracy about this shit?" So now she's second guessing everything Lucius says because she's always being blindsided by Lucius, which makes her feel the way she feels towards him. And she says that, "Look, when it came down to Andre, that was the hardest decision I had to make." But then she was like, "Yeah, but it seemed to me that, we promised that we weren't going to keep secrets from each other." And I put question marks on my notes. I'm like, bitch, Cookie, you are keeping secrets from him as well. So it's a double-edged sword here. Yeah, he's keeping secrets, that affects you, and you're keeping secrets that affects him. So y'all both got the problem. It's not just Lucius. And oh yeah, I talked about that. So then we get the trust tour. They're at the last leg of it. We get a set with Blake and the three black divas. Shout out to Tisha Campbell. She was doing her thing. And then all of a sudden they have a business meeting at Empire. Empire Extreme is selling in droves. People are signing up. So now they're back in the business of making money. And this sparks something in Becky, because we see that Becky is just kind of like, yeah, okay. Because everybody is excited. They pop in champagne. Everybody's happy because now they're about to get back into the black and out of the red. But Becky feels some kind of way because she says that, I have issues with this because even though me and you did the work, Lucius is always going to get the credit. And even though it was our idea, but because it's Empire, it's going to be Lucius that's going to get the credit for this. And she's like, and I'm tired of them taking credit for everything that we're doing. Um, and pretty much Giselle lets her know, well, don't worry about that. I got this. So we see that Lucius is at the church, and they open the casket, and it's Kingsley, because I had been said that Kingsley's the one that's going to be in that casket. I knew it wasn't going to be Andre. They really had us going to think it was going to be Andre, but I knew it was going to be Kingsley, because Kingsley was too much of a disturbed person, to for him to really overcome that. So I knew that Kingsley was going to have a tragic demise. I kind of saw it in the air. But then he gives him a hard drive of his music that he puts in Kingsley's pocket. And then the next thing you know, and the only person that was there was fucking Thirsty. I'm like, where the fuck was you at, Tracy? You loved your son so fucking much. How come Lucius was the only one there sending his son off, giving him a proper burial? Trifling slut. Alright. So then we see that District Attorney Conway comes there doing some more bullshit. And I'm just like, I'll be so happy when they kill this bitch, because I fucking hate her. She is so fucking disrespectful. She's so trifling, and she literally has no heart. And she sits down and talks to him about, Cookie and Damon. She shows the photo of them before they went to Panama. And, and then she also throws out, oh yeah, and she's also been making trips to Damon's house when Andre was dying of cancer. I wonder what they were doing, huh? Do you know what they were doing? And Lucius was about to really flip and whoop her ass. And then he just says that first you try Thirsty, and then you try to, and then you tried to flip my wife, try to get her to dime. And then you come here with your flunkies on the day that I bury my son to try to make me betray what really matters to me. Bitch, please. And walk the fuck away. So, next thing we see that this bitch goes in her office, and guess who's in there waiting for her? That motherfucker Damon Cross. So Damon Cross says, I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. Giving Godfather teas and shit. He's saying that, look, I got 20 million to throw in the governor's race, but only for the right candidate. Can that candidate be, are you the right candidate, Miss Conway? And she's like, look, you're going to need more than money to get me off your ass. But then he's like, I can get you Lucius Lyon, you know. And then she tells him, can you do it before he kills you? Because it seemed to me that your little obsession that you got with Cookie, Lucius has the same obsession as well. And then he lets her know that, look, taking down Lucius will make a name for yourself. And, he's the perfect person to take down for you to become governor. And she's like, oh, I see. You want another nibble of the cookie. Okay, fine. I'll take Lucius. You get his wife. And I'll take Lucius for now. And next year you can give me the 20 million. I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers are trifling as fuck. And we know damn well that Damon is playing chess. He is going to get Cookie hella high water. So if it means he gets Lucius locked up for life, that leaves it open for him to sweep Cookie off her feet, which is what he wants, which is why, it's so synonymous that he kept that painting of Cookie and Lucius, in the chessboard, because he's playing chess with every move he makes. He realized that he's not going to get Cookie, and when Cookie told him he need to watch his back because the FBI is after him, he goes to the FBI and makes a deal to throw Lucius under the bus so he can get Cookie. So he's self-serving, and so is fucking District Attorney Conway. They both are one and the same. They're both evil as shit, and they both only care about their own narrative. So then we see that Giselle and Becky go to this, open office lot, this vacant office space, and pretty much Giselle says that, look, I've been listening to you. And at first I thought about us doing our own imprint, but even with our own imprint, we would have to still go through Empire. But I have an idea. We can actually do this ourselves and build our own label. Us. Like, it was real cute. And she's like, well, how are you going to get the money for this? And Giselle says she's dumped her whole equity from Empire, and it'll be like an 80-20. And she was like, oh no, boo-boo, are you sure about this? Because I know of a lot of labels that start up and they fail. Are you sure about this? And she's saying that, look, with your knowledge and your expertise and my knowledge and expertise, we can do this. And we can have a label run by women and have clients that are women, and they finally can get, the notoriety and the platform that they deserve to have, because usually the labels is a man's game, but now we're making it a woman's game. So I'm liking the idea. So eventually Becky decided, okay, fine, 70-30, I'm in. And they're going to call it Bossy Records. So I'm going to see how that's going to be interesting, because I love their chemistry. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to do a spinoff on the two of them running Bossy Records. That would be really fucking cool. So then we see that Thirsty and Lucius are talking. Lucius is mad as fuck because he realizes that Damon wants Cookie. And, Thirsty's trying to tell him, like, look, you need to take it easy right now. You're emotional, and he says, I'll take it easy when Damon crosses 6 feet under, and he tried to take my fucking wife, and I'm seeing what he's doing. And then pretty much, Thirsty's trying to talk some sense to him, let him know that, look, Conway was trying to wind you up, bruh. And my people then got back to me and let me know that Damon is working with her. So you're now the main target. And then, so he's like, so what you gonna do? He's like, well, I'm gonna, go and finish Damon, and then I'm gonna hide out until this whole thing blows over. And then so that was his plan, but then he says that, fine, go ahead and do that shit. Conway will have your ass in jail by noon, and you'll probably get 2 years in Rikers with no bail. So go ahead chasing Cross. You ain't gonna do nothing but play yourself, because she already got a plan worked out to shut you down. But he pretty much kind of heeds what Thirsty was saying. He's saying that, look, he decides to, I'm gonna go away for a while, you know, I just asked that you look after my boys in the business. He says that, look, your boys are I'm always there for them anytime they need me. So Thirsty, like, I got your back. Then we see that they're going to the helicopter. Lucius wants Cookie to go with him. Cookie says that, no, I am not leaving my son, and I'm not going nowhere off with you. I'm not. She much told him that, look, I'm not going with you. And he's like, well, what's going on, Cookie? And she says that, look, ride or die is over, baby. I gotta put me first from now on. I gotta put me first. Like, I'm always choosing you and choosing Empire, and it's killing me, and I can't do it anymore. And she says that, look, and then she tells Lucius that she slept with Damon, even though she didn't. But she said that shit to make him get on that helicopter because he wasn't gonna leave without her. And she says, "Oh, I slept with him, so you still want me to get on that helicopter with you?" And then we see that the two of them go their separate ways, and that's where it ended. And I'm like, damn, this is gonna be some interesting shit here. So we just had to wait on season 6 to see how this all gonna play out. But let's just say they spun a big enough web to really have a lot to work with when season 6 premieres. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with season 6 of Empire. So until next time, everybody, take care.